Today with Parent Tips, we're back talking about guided reading. This is information based on the book by Jan Richardson, The Next Step Forward in Guided Reading. Today we're going to talk about emergent readers. Emergent readers at level A can write their first name without a model. They can identify at least 40 uppercase and lowercase letters by name, demonstrate left to right directionality. That means they're tracking, they know that words go from left to right. Understand enough English to follow simple directions and know at least 8 sounds. So most of the kids in our TK class were at this point. In, I'd say, January-ish, and we started to embark on more emergent reader lessons. TK, this is not a TK standard. This is more like kindergarten, but this year's class was ready, and so I was ready to move on. So I want to talk about some of the goals for this emergent reader level, and this would be where you would be at the end when you're ready to move on to the next level, which she calls the early reader. But emergent readers are probably, you're going to stay in the emergent reader level, probably kindergarten, first grade. And if you're trucking along by the end of first grade, you might be popping out of into the early reader. But definitely by second grade, you'd probably be in the early reader section if you were on grade level. All right, so some of the goals that we have is to know all the letters and sounds. Let's switch over here. Match 1-to-1. What they say matches what they point to as they read. So that means that as I'm reading, match 1-to-1. What they say matches what they point to as they read. So they're not have it memorized and reading and just letting their finger fly. Control left to right directionality across several lines of print. So as I get to this end, I know I continue on the next line and moving on to the next. Using meaning, structure, and initial letters to figure out unknown words. So if they come to a word that they don't know and they need help with it, they might look at the first letter and they know that sound. They'll look at the picture. They'll look at the rest of the letter patterns. But that initial letter will give them a clue. Like, does it start with a T? All right. They'll form letters correctly. Talk a little bit more about that later. Hear and record consonant, vowel, consonant sounds in sequence. We abbreviate that as a CVC word. So if you've heard the term CVC words, those are consonant, vowel, consonant, like cat, C-A-T. Okay, monitor for meaning. So as they're reading, does it make sense to them? And they'll often, if they don't know a word, they will put a word in that makes sense to the structure or what they've been reading or to the picture that they're seeing. Reread a sentence to correct errors to confirm predictions. This is kind of along what I was just talking about. They're predicting what's coming next because they're understanding the meaning and monitoring for meaning, and therefore their predictions, they might have the wrong word in there, or they'll reread because it didn't make sense. They'll read and write about 30 sight words, discuss a story with teacher prompting, and write a simple message about the book with teacher scaffolding. Those are the goals for the emergent reader. This author has given us, let me see if I can find it, a quick lesson plan. This is the type of lesson plan that you might see or that the teacher would be using. Of course, it's quite intricate. Today, I am only going to talk about sight word review and sight word, teach one sight word. I'm talk about sight words today and word study. And as in future videos, I will talk about this reading section here in book introduction. But today we're going to talk about sight words. So, sight word review. This alphabet chart, if you have an alphabet chart or you have a chart in your home that has alphabet letters on the wall, or maybe you can find something online and print it out. Alphabet chart is a great resource for kids to refer to. Sight word review, you're only going to do this. It should take only 1 or 2 minutes, and you will do something like this. You know, oh, we've learned the word like. Can you spell like? And then they will write L-I, like. Yes, that's correct. All right, and then they'll show it to you. And then we'll review, and can you write the word can? Can. And you want kids to be hearing, visualizing what they are seeing in their mind as a whole word. Sight words, we don't want to spell them out. We don't want to sound them out. We want to remember them as a whole. So that a sight word review. So as the kids are writing, if they're starting from the bottom and they're using capital letters, we don't want to see this because this is not how they're going to see that word in the book. So we want to encourage writing with lowercase letters. We want to encourage saying the whole word while writing it. And we want correct letter formation. So if you see them starting to write the K backwards, correct that. We want correct letter formation. So sight word review is very simple. But now I'll focus some time on teaching a new sight word. So when you teach a new sight word, you're going to cite something like this. Children, today we're going to learn a new word. This is our word. It's the word like. Can you spell it with me? L-I-K-E. Like. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull this away. I'm going to erase a letter, and I will ask, what letter is missing? That's right, it's the letter E. Let's try that again. Now what letter is missing? Yes, it's the letter I. We're trying to teach them visualization of the letter. Now what letter is missing? It is the K, correct. And now what letter is missing? Yes, we're missing the letter L. This is the word like. All right, now I'm going to give you the letters for this word. Let's move this up here. And here are the alphabet letters that you need to make this word, and I would like you to put them in order from left to right. Make sure you start with the first letter. What's the first letter? L, that's correct. I-K-E. Yes, that's good. Now mix that up. Can you do it again? L-I-K-E. And then I would show them the word. Does it match? Or I might have it on an index card for them to see. Okay, next I want you to write it with your finger on the table. So can you remember what that looked like? And we're going to write it. L-I-K-E. That is another step of visualization. In my classroom, and I learned this from a program I used with my son many years ago, Linda Mood Bell, a reading program, we talked a lot about looking up. So if you can have them write it on the ceiling, there's something with the brain and with the eyes when they look up. Have you noticed when you ask somebody a question and they're trying to recall information, they might look up in, with their eyes, they're thinking about it. If you start noticing people, they do that, and it has something to do with the connections in the brain. Okay, so I want to talk about, so that's table writing, and now we're going to write it and retrieve it. So we're going to write, you should say the word in a natural way as you write it. This mimics what they do when they write stories on their own. Do not encourage students to spell or sound out the word. You want them to learn the word as a complete unit. So I'm reiterating that. We want to learn it as a complete unit. So they would have their letters, L-I-K-E, like, and they would cover them up. And now you have them retrieve that. So can you write it on your own? Give them a whiteboard if you have one, or a piece of paper. If you don't have a whiteboard, they have them at the Dollar Tree, I believe, and they're only $1. They're a great resource. You're not using a lot of paper. You can quickly erase. So L, they would write the word, and then they would check to see if they got it right. Yes, good job. You got it right. All right, and then after I did that, I would have them now take these away, and I would review a few other words that we already know. So how do you write the word I? Oh, good job. And how do you write the word can? Good job, that's right. Oh, we have learned the word the. How do you write the word the? Very good. Okay, and then as they're writing, if they're not remembering or they're getting them out of order, correct that quickly so they're not seeing it the wrong way. And then we're going to come back to our new word that we just learned. We just learned a new word. Do you remember the word? It was like. All right, so I want you to see if you can remember that word and what it looks like. And hopefully they can retrieve that again. Okay, now that word can go into our daily review, or you might do this for a few days if you feel like they need it. And then you can put that into your little review section of words already learned. Before I sign off for today, I did want to show you, if I can find it, lists of words that they recommend for this age. And, oh, there it is. Here we go. So this is considered level A, B, and C. The highlighted words are words that we have learned in our class up to this point. A lot of these 2-letter words will go, I would consider a sight word. They're all sight words because we want automatic recall, but I didn't really work on those because we could sound them out. Go and me are probably ones that we'll need to work on soon. Maybe I'll do that this next week. I have been going kind of out of order. There are some other ones that I've taught them, like love and R. Oh no, R's on here. Love and this that are not on this list. And the reason being is it's good to connect sight words with what you're reading. And I've been using the Let's Find Out readers to do my reading section as far as understanding print and sight words and just for interest. And then we have our learning dynamics readers that we're using for, you know, pacing to where each child is at. So kind of between those two, I've been picking out sight words that I think that the kids should know and just kind of feeling my way through that. So that's why it may not be in the suggested order here. And of course, this is just a suggested order by the author of this book, which has amazing ideas and really great great teaching for a teacher. So anyway, just thought I would share sight words with you today and how you could work on them. You know what? I did forget one step. I forgot. And so let me go back and show you that. One of the steps that I do with the kids, once they spell it out with, the first time they spell it out with the magnetic letters, is we push them up and we say them. L, I, K, E, like, and then we'll pull them down. L, I, K, E, like. I'll have them push them up again. L, I, K, E, like. And then I will cover it up and I'll have them write it. Do you remember what it looks like? All right, check to see if you were right. Yes. Okay, so that's one section I did forget. I'm sorry about that. So anyway, hope you have a good time practicing sight words at home.